Hmm. I am calling upon my spirit guides and Archangel Metatron to assist me in communicating my experience thoroughly and clearly. Thoroughly and clearly. I'm calling upon you to assist me in speaking my truth. Hi, my beautiful beings. Thank you for being here and clicking on this video. I hope that you clicked it because the title resonated with you, it caught your attention, it's something that you're interested in, and that you're wanting to seek further knowledge or connect deeper with someone. So let's jump right in. I am going to be sharing my Kundalini ascension or my spiritual awakening experience. I literally cannot believe I'm speaking these words right now. The channel that I created, Blissed-out-brit, my Instagram handle, Blissed-out-brit, that was created because of this experience. I am who I am now because of this experience. But I have not spoken about this experience in full detail with anyone. This happened in 2015, like almost 4 years ago today. Oh, long time coming. I've suppressed it and just held it just for myself in my sacred space in my heart center, and I finally have been drawn to share it with you. And so yeah, let's begin, I guess. I guess, you know, here goes. I want to preface this experience with the fact that I do not believe I am enlightened or that I'm better than anyone or that I know more than anyone. I am simply sharing my experience to release and to express myself and to dive deeper within myself in order to connect with more individuals. I know that I'm not the only one that has experienced something like this, but when I was experiencing it, I felt very alone, and I want to share my story in order to help other people not feel so alone, to not feel like they are crazy, and to connect on a deeper level. I'm not creating this channel for some superficial, hey, how you doing connection. I'm here to talk about fears, to release those fears, to come out of myself, to expand, to evolve, to grow. I'm here to dive deep, all right? And in order to do that, I wanted to lay out this foundation and share my experience to be able to expand upon it, to start, you know, swimming into that depth a little bit more. So I am just going to share my actual experience. I'm not going to be sharing the steps that I took in order to reach this experience. I believe that this experience was caused by trying to heal my anxiety and my depression. Like I said, this happened in the summer of 2015. I was a public school teacher at the time, and so I had the whole summer off to dive into a lot of self-care practices to heal myself. That was my purpose, and it turned into something way more beyond myself than I could have ever imagined, and I'm going to try to express it as fully and as authentically as I can to try to get you to grasp what I had gone through. So if I don't express it in a way that you're understanding, please ask me questions in the comments below. Like I said, I'm doing this video to expand upon it, and so if there are things that you would like to know more about as I discuss what had happened, please put it in the comments below, and I will try to respond back to you through the comments, or I will create a new video to fully answer any questions you may have. So this happened summer of 2015, and I was living in Illinois at the time in a 2-bedroom apartment with my partner at the time, and the onset was very quick. My spiritual awakening was not, I did not wake up very calmly or gently. It wasn't, it was more of a, oh shit, I fell out the bed in the middle of the night, had no idea what happened, smack, I'm awake kind of thing. And that like symbolism is all I can really express. Like, it was very intense, it was very quick, but long lasting, like, and once it started, it just kept unraveling and unraveling, unraveling, unraveling until, yeah. So my first signs that my third eye was activated was the fact that I started tapping into some psychic abilities, and I was able to communicate with spirits. Yeah, I said it. I was able to communicate with spirits. I was able to communicate with my grandmother that had passed away, that I was closely connected to. When I was really little, I was able to connect with some archangels, and that's the pretty blissful side of it. When, I was in high vibration, I was experiencing a lot of up and down, up and down. I didn't know my emotions were not leveled, because I was in the process of healing myself. So I was getting peaks of very high, and that's when I was starting to tap in. And then I also had peaks of like I was lower, and those low vibrational spirits were also connecting with me, and that was very scary. That was very dark energy. I did not feel safe. And I remember telling my partner at the time, like, because he knew that's, I was trying to communicate what was going on, and I just like remember grabbing him and being like, I think I'm going crazy. And I'm frightened, I'm like, I think I'm going crazy, and I don't have the strength or the courage to check myself in, like, to a facility. I'm asking you to check me into a facility. I think I'm losing my mind. I'm hearing things, I'm feeling things that are not a part of this reality. And he was just like, Brittany, like, you're okay, like, I'm here, you're fine, just, go get some sleep. And so, yeah, like, I eventually, like, got in bed, and I was just like, it's not real, like, you're not real, like, go away. And like, I was able to push those spirits away and get some rest. But during my resting period, I didn't realize that I was vulnerable then. I was even more vulnerable then than when I was awake, and susceptible to other spirits. And I would wake up, I was waking up with like bruises of like handprints, all like 5 fingerprints on my arms and on my legs, and I would have like scratch marks. So that part was really scary to me, and it lasted quite a while. And so as I was dealing with that aspect, other things started clicking with me, like numbers started to make a little bit more sense, like just synchronicities. I had paintings that I had purchased or that had been given to me or that I had drawn, like art that I had drawn, like started, like it was like my subconscious was planting seeds, and like, yeah, I just had signs that, wow, like I've been telling myself this was gonna happen for a while now. My spirit guide started talking to me not only through like energy, but like through songs, through signs, through numbers. So yeah, the main thing that happened right away was just like, yeah, my psychic ability to channel spirits, which who knew? Like, I really thought that was only in like the movie Ghost, which was my favorite movie growing up as a little kid. Another thing, it's like, so like all my past experiences started making a lot of sense to me as to why they had happened, because everything became apparent that everything was divinely timed and that everything that happened happens for a reason. And I truly believe that now, based off of this experience and what messages I had received and how everything started clicking and connecting. So yeah, so that happened, and then I ended up going to a music festival called Workout Music Festival in Ohio with my partner, which I ended up realizing like that relationship was not serving my highest like vibration, and so at that point we were trying to work things out, but we weren't together anymore. He was trying to make changes so that he was vibrationally aligned with me, and so during that festival it was a very powerful experience. I was still trying to control like what spirits I was connecting with, but I also had a lot of human connection around me at the time, and you know, music and crystals became a huge part of my life during that music festival. I was getting gifted a lot of crystals to ground me. A lot of people could see that I was, you know, experiencing something very real for me, and they could feel it, like what to say to people to make them feel better, and like to heal, like kind of put their demons at rest almost. There was this one guy, I'd never met him in my life, and I like just knew I needed to walk up to him, and I just like grabbed his shoulders, and I was just like, I was told to let you know, like, you're not a bad person. Whatever you think you did does not make you a bad person. You're not a bad person. You are a very good person. And he just started crying, and he just like hugged me, and he's like, you have no idea like how much that means to me that like you told me that. And we just like sat and talked and like shared a moment, and it was super powerful, not only for him but for me, because I was like, holy cow, like I'm a healer, you know, and this is real. Like my energy is healing people, and I'm able to help people. And so I walked around the entire festival, like throughout the entire festival, just like communicating with people and like just really connecting with people. I'm going to try to be as chronological as possible, but there's a lot of like little bits and pieces that I'm piecing together, and so I might go back because me explaining something is triggering me to explain something else so that makes sense, kind of thing. So before the festival, another thing that I was experiencing, because I was doing a lot of like meditating, and I knew that connecting with the ground was really balancing me out, so I would just lay in the grass at night and meditate, and I noticed that the stars started moving. And so yeah, during the festival, like I still was seeing all these stars moving at night, and it was just really peaceful for me. I don't fully know why the stars were moving. There's a lot of things that I still scientifically and logically don't understand, but like spiritually, like I just feel I get it, you know. So I can't really verbally explain it in a way that you would understand it, because these experiences don't really scientifically make sense. It's not something tangible. It's something that just like is within you, you know. So yeah, the stars were moving at the festival. The art, again, like just felt like it was meant for me to see. Like they were all messages like for me, and I just felt like, yes, this is what I was supposed to be there for. Again, the spirits were still communicating with me. I felt very fragile. Like these beings felt really big, and like I could physically feel them like hugging me. Like they were just really happy that I was like waking up, and that I knew that they existed, and that they could communicate with me. And so I had to keep reminding them, like, please be gentle with me. I'm fragile. Like I'm still like little and like new to this, and this is overwhelming. And so yeah, like open communication. I just like felt like, you know, I was really tight. Like my spine and my neck were really sore all the time. I felt a lot of tingles on my body all the time, specifically like in my shoulder blades, like right here. And I still get that when I'm connecting with spirits. And so yeah, I was just physically like so sore the entire festival, because you're just walking around and you're dancing, and like then like yeah, just like the kundalini, like the spine, there's a lot of pressure, and with that happening, crystals started making a lot of sense to me, and like how powerful they are and how like necessary they were for me through that experience. It was like day 3, I think, where it was like really hitting my peak. I asked a question. I was asking these other dimensional beings like questions, and they were answering them, which was really cool. Like one of them was like, I knew they were big because I could feel how big they were, and I was like, how big are you? And then all of a sudden my head like turns, and on the ground is this giant Corona flip-flop. Like, I mean, it was bigger than my arm span. I'd never seen one of these in my life, but I'm sure I could even find it on the interweb or whatever, the internet. It was giant, and so they were just expressing like that was their foot size, and if their foot size was that big, like they were just huge. So yeah, that was pretty neat. And what else? Yeah, just a lot of crazy things were happening. A lot of messages, a lot of downloads I was getting, like of like interconnectedness, and like I always believed in like sacred geometry, but it started making so much more sense to me. And then there came a point in the festival where I was so vibrationally high, I just felt so disconnected, like with the reality. And I just remember like being on the swing on this jellyfish contraption. There's like swings, and I'm just like standing on the swing, and I was at the point where it's like I felt like I no longer was a vibrational match to the reality I was living, and I didn't feel the need to be in this body anymore. And so I was just sitting there, and I just started expressing this, like, okay, like I get it, like I'm done with this reality, like I want to move forward. And I literally felt like my soul leaving my body. And before I finally made that leap like out, I started thinking like all these people in my life, like they love me, and they love that I exist, and I know that I help them, and that, you know, I'm important and I'm needed, and I had some more things that I needed to fulfill. So in that moment I brought myself back, and I almost fell off this, like I almost fell directly off this swing, but I got off the swing, and I just like ran to my friends, and I just like, you know, hugged them. And I remember hugging my partner at the time, like my boyfriend at the time, or we were in between, and I hugged him. And in that moment, like I hugged him for a few seconds, and I let go, and he was just like, whoa, what did you just do? And I was like, I just gave you a hug. And he's like, no, you like blasted me off into like another dimension, like I had smoked like he had smoked DMT or something, like. And I was like, he's like, how long were you hugging me for? And I was like, only a couple seconds. And he's like, there's no way. Like, I felt like I was gone for eternity. Like, I felt like it was the weirdest thing. And yeah, it was so crazy that he was able to experience that based off of just the energy that I had like given to him, that I had shared with him. So that happened. And then I think the final thing I want to share about the festival itself, it was the last day, and I was told that I needed to meditate. I needed to find a specific location to meditate, and I went like all over this festival to like find the perfect place to meditate, and it ended up being back by the jellyfish swings. And so I ended up laying down, getting ready to meditate, and nothing was happening. And they're like, no, like this is serious. Like you can't have anything tied to you. You need to just be you. So you can't wear clothes. And I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, no. So yes, in the middle of this festival in broad daylight on the last day, I got naked. I stripped down out of my clothes, and I laid down, and I covered myself with my pashmina scarf, and I was like, oh, I'm ready. And they're like, no, you're not. You don't just it's not just you. And they're like, your jewelry too. So I had to take out my earrings, I had to take off my rings, my bracelets, my necklace, and my belly ring. I think that's all I had. But I had to take it all off, get back under the scarf, and then like boom, like that, like I was out. I had this like giant, like I had this vision that these two gorgeous god and goddesses, like the goddess was this magenta, fuchsia, like pink being, and the male energy was this turquoise, like blue being. And I was this little purple baby, and I was looking up at them, and they were my parents. Like I had just been born, and they're holding me in their arms. And then she breastfed me, and then as she was like burping me, I woke up and I just started throwing up so much water. And that was like my spiritual rebirthing experience. And yeah, then I ended up, you know, getting dressed and packing up and heading home. And at that point, things were getting really intense for me. Past lives started flooding in, and I'm going to share the little blurb about past lives during Kundalini experiences. And also another symptom is flashes of other realities. So I'm going to read those two, because me just verbalizing it's not really going to get the message across as to like what I'm trying to explain. Past life memories are our long-term memories returning. These are deep suppressed memories within our soul blueprint of who we are and were within various lifetimes. Past life memories for some appear in flashbacks, visions, daydreams, or glimpses into the past. It is a memory so vivid and real that bring confusion because you realize it was not from the life you are currently living. So I was getting a lot of past life experiences, specifically with like people that I was connected with at the time, like my friends. And me trying to explain that to them, like my boyfriend at the time, like I was getting a lot of flashback memories of us being siblings, like he was a brother of mine, and so I felt like that brother love and that unconditional love, and I was trying to express that like that's what was happening, but I didn't. He thought I was like looking at him as if like he was a brother in this life, and it just like it was so confusing to try to verbalize what was going on and have them be able to relate and connect. And another thing that was happening was flashes into other realities. So the feeling as if you are living in multiple realities at once or parallel lives. Time is more fluid as past, present, and future merge as one. You feel as if straddled between worlds or moving into different realities altogether. It usually enables a very disoriented feeling of not being grounded in the physical because you are opening yourself to different timelines of perceiving reality. So yeah, there was other realities happening. I started losing grip of the reality I was living in, the 3D, and that's when things started getting really weird, and people started really getting concerned for me and my mental state. But I was just so full of love, like unconditional love for everyone, and I was just in such a high vibrational like state of bliss and euphoria that I just like I didn't care, you know. I was just trying to say what was going on, and people thought I was crazy, and I was just like, whatever, like this is really happening for me, and like how can you not get it? And it was so intense. But I did end up having a friend reach out and tell me that like, Britt, you're not crazy. Like I do believe what you're going through is real. It happened to me once, and it's just you're spiritually awakening, and you're gonna be okay. And so yeah, having that one person there to support me and tell me I'm not crazy saved my life, probably, like honestly. And so that started really affecting my life, like the fact that I couldn't connect anymore. I felt very alone and yeah, not a part of this world once things started really getting wild. And so I remember, and I still was going outside at night, and I started getting orbs coming down, like spiritual orbs. I was starting to see them, like, and they were starting to float down and be around me, and I could see like flickers of light in my peripherals at times. So that was pretty neat. But eventually, like, yeah, just not being able to connect with my friends got really hard. But I did end up mending relationships as well. I mended my relationship with my family, which was a big reason for some of my depression and anxiety. I was able to forgive and to have a fresh start with them, and we have a beautiful relationship now. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without having the realization that everything happens for a reason, and like it all was preparing me for this moment, and life is so beautiful and magical, and why live that with any, you know, negative feelings in my heart for anyone. So yeah, I was able to let that go. But even though I was gaining relationships, like I felt like I was losing a lot of relationships and that was really hard for me. And at this point, my boyfriend at the time, like, well, my ex-boyfriend, we decided we just weren't working. Obviously, I was in a whole new world, and so he ended up moving out, and I ended up being like really alone and really scared at times, because yeah, I was still trying to be in control of like being able to be the one in control of like communicating with the spirits. And I ended up creating this whole castle in my mind, and like having my spirit guides be protectors, and not having negative spirits come in, or like not having anyone connect with me when I wasn't wanting to connect. So I really had to figure out how to control that. And there just came a point where I remember being on the balcony at night, and I just was crying, and I was just like, please, like, give me a sign that I'm where I'm supposed to be, that I'm okay, that everything's gonna work out. I need a real sign. And it was pitch black, and there was like no other buildings above, like no trees, nothing. It was the middle of the night, and all of a sudden this white feather started floating down above my head, and I just like was like, thank you. So yeah, like white feathers are a huge angel sign, and that they're there and that you're okay. And yeah, that got me through. I started diving into art. I started making my own clothing with sacred geometry and like mandalas and stuff like that. That really helped me, and I decided that I was not wanting to be a part of this matrix and societal conditioning, and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to live like, you know, my dreams and start, you know, fulfilling those. So I ended up trading in my Honda Civic for a Chevy Express van, and I was going to live in my van come next summer and travel and yeah, get out of this matrix bubble. But I needed to teach one more year to afford to do that. And so I had school started back up, and yeah, it sunk in that like I really needed to get a grip on this. Like I really needed to ground myself. And so throughout it, like, yeah, I received like numerology and like angel numbers and a lot of messages about interconnectedness and synchronicities and the meaning of just existence, and just a deeper meaning of life and how beautiful it is. But I had to shut down like my third eye. I had to stop doing what I was doing in order to connect with people and to keep my job. So I stopped meditating, I stopped doing yoga, I just started eating a ton. I gained like 20 pounds, I think, to just ground down my energy and to just keep it for myself. And this was really hard for me to do. Like, I just had to pretend that none of this happened to me and that I was normal, you know. And I still kept all the lessons and everything, but yeah, I totally suppressed a lot. I felt it was really hard to express what was going on with me. Spiritual awakening was not a good term for people to accept, so I started saying that I went through a psychosis, and I started twisting my truth in order to comfort other people. And I didn't lose any of my friends through this process. I'm so grateful for having like people stand by my side and support me despite what happened and our differences. And if I had said things to upset them or hurt them, obviously like I broke my boyfriend's heart at the time, and I was saying things that just didn't make sense. So they were like, what I was saying was affecting other people's emotions, and yeah, the fact that, you know, they love me enough to stick it through and give me a second chance. I'm really blessed, you know. I really surrounded myself with really good people that wanted to make sure that I was okay and that I was well. And they did try to understand, but a lot of times they're just like, we can't. Like, it's just something that, you know, it didn't happen to us, and we understand that it can, but it hasn't. So it just was really hard to connect with anyone. And that's why I'm creating this video, is so I can connect with other people that do understand, or that I can help other people that are going through this, to let them know they're not alone. But yeah, like I shut it down, and I still got like my angel messages, and you know, I got back into yoga, but I really just was fearful that it was going to happen again and I would lose grip of this reality. And so there's a big part of me that I just like stopped connecting with. And I'm finally at the point where I'm not afraid anymore, and I'm not ashamed, and I'm ready to just be fully who I am. And so this was really a big step for me to sit and discuss this experience. It's been just a part of me for so long, and I'm ready to just ready to let it go so I can shine the light for others as well. And it was a beautiful experience, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it, and it really did make me who I am today. My perception of reality totally shifted into this beautiful dynamic and this beautiful view of life. Like, what happened to me was extremely beautiful, and I should share it with people, and you know, open their minds to it and open their hearts to it. I'm not sharing this to push my beliefs on anyone or to try to make you believe in my story. But if it does open your mind and your heart to it, then that's a bonus for me. And I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story and be here with me and support me through this, because it definitely wasn't easy to express this. And I hope that I was able to express it in a way that you do connect to it in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to link down like my Pinterest board that gives more information on spiritual awakening and ascension. And yeah, I just keep seeking. I am tapping back into that, and really embracing the fact that I do have these abilities. Everyone's born with these psychic abilities and with this spiritual side of them, and I'm ready to connect with that part of me. I know that I'm clairaudient and I'm clairsentient, and there's parts of me that are clairvoyant, and I'm ready to find that balance within this reality and within that spiritual reality as well. So I'm excited to share this journey with you and to show you how I assist my bliss and I keep my frequency high, and yeah, see how it goes. I've had like smaller spiritual awakenings happen with major life scenarios, but this one was just like out of this world, huge for me, and yeah, that's why I shared this one. But maybe I'll share the other ones another time. So that's it for me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for connecting with me and growing with me. Please like this video if it's something you enjoyed hearing and viewing. Comment below any questions you have about my experience. If you want further details on anything, if you want to know my steps and how I got to that point in my life, what kind of self-care practices I was doing, I will definitely share that with you. I will probably share it anyways, because hey, this is my story and this is my journey, and this is the whole reason why I created this channel in the first place, so it's probably going to go up anyways. But yeah, feel free to like, share, and comment. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.